There is always someone hotter, posting more, and charging less, but there is only one you. And if you can market that, you become irreplaceable. Welcome back to On the Horizon. This is Melrose Michaels. I am your host, and I'm here to share what's worked for me in building my adult creator business to try to make building yours just a little bit easier. Let's get into today's episode. There's a reason that some creators have fans that follow them across every platform, tip them even when they don't ask, and buy content just to support them. It's not because they're hot, and it's not because they post more, and it's definitely not because they hack every single algorithm. It's because they've become a character in their fans' minds. Today, I am breaking down what I'm calling main character marketing, and I have a feeling it's the secret to building a personal brand that people don't just watch, but they root for, they invest in, and they feel emotionally connected to. So if your goal is to stop chasing attention and start earning obsession, then this is the episode for you. We are living in a world where people consume people more than content. So I want you to think about your own habits. If you follow some creators, not because of what they post, but because of who they are. You like their vibe or their story or the way they show up. And I think a really fantastic example of this is Kazumi. I don't follow Kazumi to see what she posts, like in terms of photos or videos. I follow her because she gives me all of this context and these stories, and I want to see where she's at in her journey and what she'll do next. And I just think she's fascinating, and she is a character to me. I've watched her evolve from the time I was accidentally, totally at random, placed next to her at X3, and I was the table to her left, and watched all these fans come and watched her interact with them. And I knew who she was after that. And ever since then, I've followed along everything she's done on social, and I've become obsessed with who she is. Like, she's just such a really cool person who's very, sexually intelligent and all of the rest, a genius businesswoman and alike. So the reality is she has this kind of main character marketing, and I think she's just a fantastic example of it. I would define kind of main character marketing as the act of making your audience feel like they're watching a character arc unfold. It creates, parasocial relationships and loyalty, and most importantly, I think it creates the reason to stay. Because let's be real, there is always someone hotter, posting more, and charging less, but there is only one you. And if you can market that, you become irreplaceable. And I think this is a very hard feat for so many people, myself included. So I've kind of studied it and tried to dissect it so that I can explain it and communicate it and articulate it well to all of you listening. And this is kind of what I came up with. So I think there are 3 pillars of main character branding. The first one being relatability, the second being aesthetic and world building, and the third being narrative. You want to build emotional investment. And in terms of relatability, this is the I see myself in her effect, or I see myself in them, where you share small, specific, and oddly personal details. You let your fans kind of in on your routines or your quirks or your habits or your thoughts. You don't just show perfection, but you also show process. Relatability makes people feel like they know you, and it makes them feel like they're let in and you're being vulnerable. And it takes a lot to do that. It doesn't take posting the most polished content or photos, even posting them consistently. It takes what you say and how you move and how you carry yourself. The next part, the aesthetic and the world building, this is what creates kind of the vibe. It tells people what story they're stepping into when they follow you. So here I think you should really ask yourself, like, what energy does your page give off? What do you feel people think when they see your content? What is the emotional color palette of your brand? World building can be done through visuals or music or captions or tone or even how you reply in your DMs. But when you nail this, I think your content doesn't just look good, it also feels like something. And I think that that's really significant. And the next part is the narrative. This is where I think the most magic happens. Main characters have story arcs. They have development, they have backstory. This is what your fans should know about you. They should know what you're building, what you're working towards, what you're overcoming, what your why is, what's important to you. They need a reason to root for you. And this doesn't necessarily mean, trauma dumping or oversharing. It just means telling a story through your growth and through your content about your choices and how you got to where you are and where you want to be. You want to let people in on the mission you have. And honestly, if you need help, like writing captions or structuring content, or even teasing your story in a way that's both strategic and hot, GPTs.ai can help you with that. It's kind of the way I've built character ideas around my own brand. And I think that having these kinds of tools to market smarter and more emotionally without wasting a lot of time on blank screens or second guessing every word is super important. So if you want to figure out, what's going to make you relatable, what aesthetic or world building you want to kind of pursue, or what narrative you want to share, you can always turn to GPTs.ai and ask for some help with that. You also will want emotional triggers that are going to create loyalty. So you're going to want fans to stay. And in order to do that, you have to have emotional resonance. So here's something I think that creates that, or that helps you to build that. Consistency equals safety. We talk about this all the time on all of our channels, but when your vibe and tone and presence are consistent, you become really familiar, and familiarity breeds comfort. Also, you want to tease and don't tell. When we talk about building anticipation, dropping Easter eggs, using cliffhangers, an example of this might be something happened today and I'm still processing. Or if you only knew what I filmed after this. Leaving those little bits and teasing and not telling everything, it's a way that you don't give everything away, but you make people want to know more. And that's going to have them taking a bigger investment in you. And then you want to also make people feel seen. Using phrases like, I see you, or you're not the only one that feels that way, or if you needed to hear this, I've got you. Because you have to remember, people don't just follow you to look at you. They follow to feel connected to themselves through you. That is kind of the essence of these parasocial relationships. Like, I watch Kazumi's page and I feel a connection to her because she's someone that really has a lot of sexual freedoms, and she takes pride in educating other creators and sharing her experiences with other creators, which helps them along their journeys. And she makes other creators feel really seen, which is important to me. And at the same time, she does a bunch of studio content, and she knows what it's like to be in a studio. And she also goes to like private sex clubs and like just does this for the joy of it and shares those experiences, which I think is super beautiful and super like interesting. And then she'll randomly come out with like a burger named after herself, or like a crazy marketing stunt. Like, she's very unexpected, and she's always teasing this next thing, and it's very exciting to watch. And you get really invested in it.
If you're enjoying this podcast episode so far, please take one moment to share it with another one of your adult content creator friends, because you know what the rule is here. We do not gatekeep, and we want to make as many adult creators' businesses as easy as possible. And you sharing this episode with them might do exactly that. Thanks so much in advance.
I think there's also some pitfalls that you can avoid as an adult creator. So don't become a character that you can't sustain. So if you're building a brand around always being perfect, you're going to trap yourself. And I feel like I actually kind of did this. Like, I tried to only put my best foot forward, only put out my most polished content, my absolute best stuff. And I think it made me highly unrelatable. And it was a huge pitfall. And I would rather you not take that pitfall if you listen to this episode and you hear this. And the other part is, don't overshare as a strategy. Your trauma, I don't think, is a good marketing plan. Like, I think you need to be very intentional, like with anything vulnerable, because you can be open without being completely raw and exposed. I think they're very different. And then you shouldn't copy another creator's persona. Like, it's so easy to look at someone who's crushing it, like a Kazumi, for example, and think, maybe I should be more like that. But you're never going to win playing someone else's role. You're the main character in your story. You're not the main character in theirs. And also, like, it's so much easier to be you. Like, it's just, you have this, all of business is hard already. Like, don't make it harder by also performing your entire existence. So how to start building your main character brand today? I think that if I had to consolidate this down to like a beginner's checklist, it would look something like this. I think number one would be to pick your 3 kind of signature traits or themes. Are you a soft dom? Are you chaotic dream girl? Are you a country baddie? Are you a flirty nerd? Are you whatever? Name your archetype and then start crafting content around that. So pick your 3 signature traits and themes. Number 2, I think, would be to create recurring moments. So examples of this are maybe like Monday voice memos or Sunday morning selfies or affirmations in your captions. Like, give your fan base something that they can look forward to as a ritual with you, something they can partake in. And then I think number 3 is to let people watch you build something. Like, let them in on your process, whether that's a video drop or a new set or a cosplay you're creating or even a personal growth journey that you're on. Like, people love watching people grow and evolve or build things. So I think it's really significant if you allow them to look in on the scaffolding of whatever your next thing is or your next project or what you plan to create. You're not just a creator. You are a character. You are a story and a world that someone out there needs to escape into. And main character marketing isn't about like being fake. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing to show up in a way that connects and compels and, most importantly, that actually converts. And if you want help building a brand like that, one post at a time, you can always check out our YouTube channel. It is full of free videos for adult creators just like you on branding and strategy and marketing and building a business that can actually make you want to wake up to it. Because you don't actually need to be everywhere. You just need to be someone fans can't stop watching. So go and be the main character. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening.
It would be absolutely incredible if you rated this podcast 5 stars and left a little review. We want to get this podcast to as many adult creators as possible, and you taking a second to leave a couple stars and a review really helps us do that. Thanks so much.